So the second phase of our project was about designing the building itself. Glenn Howells, the architects, worked with us for many months. And what's really neat about this building is that the students and the staff themselves actually got involved from the beginning. They would have workshops that looked at what we actually needed for teaching and learning. What was really important is that this building is about education and training. And so however good it looks, it had to be fit for purpose. So the staff from each of the areas who knew exactly what they wanted for teaching and learning designed the building. So you could say it was designed from the inside out.
So we started off in terms of the concept design by working very closely with the college, with our design team, Glenn Howells Associates, and also with Ian Parkinson of Parkinson Inc., the urban designer for Wirral Waters. And the building was designed from the inside out, so we had to get the function of the building right before we started to look at the architecture. The key thing for me was about simplicity and about a sort of humility when it comes to this particular project itself. We've got lots of big structures in and around the dock estate in terms of bridges and cranes, so the actual architecture of the building doesn't have to try very hard. What I was very keen on making sure happened was that the landscape was very strong and of the Wirral, so making sure we get a strong landscape approach, and that the architecture was modest but of very high quality, and it was very much about the quality of the materials that was important to us when we set the brief for the architects.
Wirral Met is in its 165th year, so we're very much part of the history of Wirral, and this building has been designed and created to bring in and represent the old and the new. So the red in the building you'll see in the stonework of the area, in the colour of the bridges. It's very much a part of Wirral's history.
And some of the key things we wanted to do here, right from the beginning, is to celebrate what an amazing site this is, the old docks and some of the old post-industrial heritage. So we've kept things like the old mooring buoys, some of the old dock walls, some of the old artefacts from the site, and then introduced new elements for the college and for people to use on the site. And those two things work together in a bold, interesting way that creates something hopefully quite site-specific and unique just for here, and that's going to be expanded into the future as part of the wider master plan.
So as you can see, it's a fantastic dockland site with some fantastic existing dockland heritage. And what we wanted to do with the building was bring in some of that into the building and create a building that feels part of this historic landscape and reflect both the use of the building as a construction centre, but also bring in the historic dockland setting.
But the really neat thing about this building is that it is itself a teaching resource. If you look around the building, you will see it's very visible how the building operates. And so whether our electricians, our gas and fitters, our plumbers, our bricklayers, they can all see how the building itself has been constructed. And so you could say that the building itself is the biggest teaching resource that we have.
Although we have got some ceilings in the building, where possible we've left the structure exposed, we've left the services exposed so that the whole building becomes a teaching aid. You can walk around and understand how bits go together, where the heating runs, how the building breathes, so the whole thing becomes part of the learning process. So wherever possible we've tried to use materials that are honest and reflect the purpose of the building.
In terms of the design, I think the design works fantastically well. It's very crisp, it's very clean, it's very honest, and it's of a very high quality. So we're delighted with the end results. Especially I'm very pleased with the landscape approach. Both the hard and the soft landscaping work very well, and that works extremely well with the building. So I think the template for this building sets the ground well for future delivery of Wirral Waters.
This building represents all of the trades in building services, the whole flow of the building, and as the different students come in, whether they're plumbers, electricians, plasterers, bricklayers, they're all together in what is essentially a huge building site that is a learning environment. But what's more impressive than that even is that the students can see the vision of the future and can see themselves as part of that, because they're the people that will get the jobs that will make it a reality.